The World Healing Tour Movement with your host, Noah Crane. Heal yourself, heal the world. Hello. Welcome to the World Healing Tour podcast, where our mission is to help you heal yourself so you can heal the world. Hi, my name is Noah Crane. Each week, we will bring you tips and tools and inspire you to live your most empowered and joyful life. I'm also the author of the book, The Grass is Greenest Where I Am, because the grass is greenest where you are. When you decide to live in a place with no comparison, no competition, and no scarcity, when we choose to live in our own love and light and share our own unique gifts with the world, because we are all unique. And that's why it's called the World Healing Tour, because when we're able to tap into ourselves and heal our own past and traumas and challenges that we have dealt with in the past, we're able to help others deal with theirs, and our healing helps others heal as well. Each week, we bring great guests into the studio to talk to you more about healing. I'm very excited about my guest today. Andréa, compassionate care and healing arts have supported many to well-being and a sense of wholeness. She's trained healer in many modalities and certified trauma-informed life coach, passionately dedicated to helping people find their true life's purpose and awaken their lives to full expression. Andréa Banfield, welcome to the World Healing Tour podcast.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm so glad to be here today.
Thank you. And I love the work that you do. I think, helping people with healing is so important. Why are you so passionate about that? And where did that passion for healing come from? You must have had your own journey that brought you to this point.
Absolutely, yes. I had my own healing journey, and it kind of came to me not even realizing I needed the healing. It came to me through my faith, actually. I had come to a place where I had felt the presence of God just kind of looking at me, saying, "I love you, but I don't know you, and I know you want me to know you," like that type of feeling. It's actually a longer story. I'm not sure if it's one to fit in right here, right now, but that was the beginning of my healing journey because at that point, I asked for God to know me, to show me what was true, and that I'd be willing to let go of anything I'd ever been taught for God to know me completely and for me to know what is really real. And right away, my path opened before me. It started the very next day. I was recommended I read a book that was called Love Wins by Rob Bell. It helped me to understand what the Bible actually says versus what I was taught in my church upbringing. And then that just continued, and it led me to all these different places um, that eventually healed me. I didn't even know I needed healing. Um, but it brought me to places where I finally realized how much I was living for other people and who other people wanted me to be. And the true me, the one that's full of life and vitality, was being stifled out of fear. So it's been this beautiful journey of developing a deep connection with the divine. I say my intuition and my connection with the Holy Spirit, um, to really know what's real for me and how to best live authentically, allowing my true radiance shine forth. And it's amazing how even just doing that alone affects the people around me to be inspired to also know that that's capable for them too.
No, that's absolutely so important. And I love the fact that you realized that you had to release some fear, because I believe that fear is something that really holds a lot of us back. I have a quote that says, fear will freeze you, love will free you. And so much of our life, my life, I could tell you in the back years ago, was so controlled by fear. Like fear controlled every part of my life. And I think one of the biggest part of our healing is to be able to release that fear that holds us back.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So being able to release that fear and being able to ask God to get to know God. And was your life at the time not working so well for you, or was there something that happened that made you want to ask God for support?
Well, I was actually reading my Bible. So there's a passage in there where Jesus is quoted saying, "Not all who say, 'Lord, Lord,' will enter into the kingdom of heaven." And I will say to them, "I do not know you." And they'll say to me, "What do you mean you don't know us? We healed people in your name. We prophesied in your name. We did great miracles in your name. How is it that you don't know us?" And I will say to them, "Get away from me, you evildoers." Um, when I read that, I've truly felt the presence of God with me. Just this loving presence looking like at me, saying, "I'm talking to you. I don't know you." And here I had lived my entire life um, dedicated to Jesus. The name Jesus came out of my mouth numerous times a day. And I was all about the church and all about helping people come to know Jesus. And here I was reading my Bible, feeling the presence of God saying, "I don't know you." And so, because of my passion of desire, deep, deep desire to be one with God and to know God and to have that eternal connection, which I didn't really understand fully what it was then. I only knew what my upbringing had taught me. Um, that was enough. That was enough for me to be open to God showing me. Now, I did look on my own for a good week or so, trying to find answers like, what does this mean? Looking in books that describe what the Bible means, and even talked to our pastor's wife. And none of the answers that I looked in made that feeling go away. That presence, that loving presence of, "I love you, but I don't know you," continued to stay. So it wasn't going to just easily fall away. It was definitely a presence and an invitation, really, to um, to go on this adventure.
That's absolutely beautiful. And I don't know if you know, but I have a thing. It's called the 3G effect. It's a mindset, and I actually created jewelry called the 3G effect mindset, and it reminds you every day to do three things. Number one is to have a grateful heart. Number two is to ground in love and compassion, not for yourself and for others. And number three is to know every day that you're not alone, but you're guided by God. Whatever you call it, a higher power, spirit, whatever you call it, you're not alone, you're being guided. We're all being guided. Would you agree that once you found that connection with God, you were much more guided in your life?
Absolutely. I think before finding that connection, I mean, we are always guided, like looking back and even all of the my upbringing before that point has all been incorporated into my entire being and beyond. So yes, my life has always been guided. Um, and getting to that place of being able to truly hear and respond, that point has opened up the connection even more so that I've found that place of assurance and that place of really kind of being able to relax into the day, knowing that everything that's needed is going to show up on my path at the right time. And all I need to do is be ready to respond. So I definitely have to do my work of keeping up and keeping tidy so I'm able to act at the promptings. But the promptings come in and I feel so assured because of that connection that I now have.
Mhm. I love that, to be able to relax. Don't we all want to relax? I feel like life pulls us in so many directions, and people are stressed out and, and easily, emotional about different things that happen in their lives on a daily basis. And you're just saying, like, just relax, like, let go, just relax. And when you have that relationship with God, you can actually relax. And that's something that I think is so beneficial for so many people, is to be able to let go and relax, right?
Yeah. But then the question is how do you do that, right? Because if you've lived a life that's been very turbulent, it's shown you that reality is unpredictable and you have to control it in order to be safe. So how do you find that connection to be able to loosen the grip of trying to control your environment for safety and moving into this relationship with it's almost like a spiritual team in the Bible. And I talk about the Bible a lot. That's been my background and my upbringing, so I understand that language. But I am open to whatever anybody's path has brought them to their connection with the divine and to the holy. Um, but for me, um, Jesus talks about like seek first the kingdom of heaven, kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you, like all of your clothing and your food and all the things we worry about. And so, what does it really mean to find the kingdom of God? And when I finally found it, it just like blew my mind because my upbringing had always taught me it's all about finding Jesus. Like they had singled it all down to just Jesus. But Jesus didn't say, come find me. He said, find the kingdom of God. And what is a kingdom? A kingdom is built up of multi layers of people, of responsibilities, of jobs, and everything has order and structure. And just like that, we have spiritual team that is here to support us in our life that helps us to hear those intuitive promptings and be able to respond. And it's developing that kind of relationship. So finding the key of how do you open that door to be able to let go of that grip of control for this reality.
Yeah, and that's the work, right? And what I hear a lot in your words, right, in between your words, is having faith and trust too. Because if we don't have that faith and trust, then we can't even relax and be able to find anything. Because when we don't have the faith and trust, we are gripping, right? We are gripping because we're afraid. And so again, it goes back to that fear and being able to let go. Would you say that's kind of part of it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But still, like, where do we find that trust?
Hmm.
Like, and maybe I could share a little bit. There have been times where I've gone through things in my life where the people I trusted that helped create my reality and my sense of safety and structure, um, all of a sudden showed up differently than who I knew them to be. And so that really affected my trust and my ability to trust. And so then it became a matter of where do I place my trust? Who is my trust in? And it was learning that my life, like if I can trust in the divine, if I can trust in God, which a lot of people might even have scars around that, but being able to tease out what is something somebody's taught me or an experience I had in this world, and what is a sense of peace that I have always had within myself that I can trace back through my life that has helped me through all of these points of discomfort. Like that's the anchor. That's the thing to trust in, that there has been something always bringing you through. And then from there, start to develop this relationship of trust in that. Start to see how you're capable of coming through the tough times.
So when you're
I,
talking about the anchor, and Andrea, what was that anchor for you? Can you give us an example to get more of a clear picture of the anchor that you're talking about?
yeah, well, it's a couple different things. So when we go through hard times,
Hmm.
there's a part of us that wants to get stuck and be afraid. But then we also have to look to see how we've been carried through it. And it's almost like picking up a little pebble and like putting in your pocket and anchoring in that little pebble of how you came through. And then when you go back to that memory, you're able to loosen the grip of the experience that you don't really want to feel again. It even creates a pattern in our nervous system that can create it so that we're afraid to head to new opportunities. Being able to allow that to go and anchor in how we've come through, and then kind of get curious, like what was it that brought me through? And even just ask. You can just ask whatever it was that brought you through. Show me more of who you are that brought me through. What is that quality that is within us that helps
So
us to be able to
so you're
overcome?
talking about like think about like your strength or your courage or something like that. Is that what you're trying to think of that got us through something?
Yeah, well, it does. Yes, our strength and our courage brings us through. But you can also, even if you were to just surrender to the event,
Hmm.
you still are brought through. So it doesn't take like mightying your strength. Like everyone who's listening to this today has been they may feel like they're still in experiences from the past, but if we can bring yourself to this moment, this very, very present moment, they're sitting in a place where they're able to watch this, and everything that they've experienced up to this point is in the past. It's no longer with them in the present. So, what is it that's brought you to this present moment that you're able to sit and be able to take in this podcast? Like, what is it? There's something there to get curious about. That's how I would describe people to help get connected to the divine and to God, who haven't had that relationship growing up, or who have had that relationship damaged growing up because of their maybe their religious upbringing.
Yeah, that makes sense. So when you go, so would that take going inside of yourself? So can you give us like some tools that people can start that don't have the connection to God, things that you've done, that some of the tools that you use to go inwards and be able to connect to God?
Yes. Um, is truly fascinating, our brains and how we work. So much of our education is really sharpens the left side of our brain. That's the analytical side of our brain that wants to understand, and it wants to know what's true and what's not, what's right and what's wrong, and it wants to compartmentalize everything and put everything into a box. Now, the right side of our brain is connected to oneness. It's connected to the divine. It's connected to the flow. And anything that we can do that is either a form of meditation, of a quieting of that chatter of the left side of the mind, or anything that you can do that's artistic, such as playing with color and some sort of paint medium, or going outside and really observing nature, like opening up all of your senses. Anything you can do that's bringing you right to the present moment. It's in that space that we can really start to experience the holy and the divine that's with us in everything and all around us all the time. Um, Far beyond um, a deity or a figure that we want to put outside of us as God. It's God is something we experience in every cell of our body. It's in our breath. It's in everything.
It's like you said, it's in the present moment, right? And so there's actually a quote that I love that says, if you're depressed, you're in the past. If you're anxious, you're in the future. But when you're present, you're peaceful, you know? So again, it's not being in the past where you have the depression. It's not being in the future where you can cause you anxiety, but when you're present, you can find your peace. Would you say that's kind of how you see it?
Mhm. You can find your peace, and then that's where you can open up all of your subtle senses. So it's like if we close our eyes and we have our five senses: taste, touch, we know them all, sight, hearing, and smell. Even just sitting and noticing all of your senses helps you to begin to open this connection, because after you connect those senses, you start to notice other things. You start to notice little subtleties of how the room might feel, how you feel in your body experiencing a space. And then as you keep going further and further, then you can start opening up to the possibility of life being so much bigger than what our five senses perceive. It kind of makes me think of the color spectrum. Have you ever seen all the waves spectrum? And it's like really long, but only right here in the middle is the spectrum that creates color that we can see with our eyes. But yet there's all these other waves that are around us and creating reality all around us all the time. We just can't see them or perceive them with our five senses. So when I first saw that, I was like, wow, that's kind of like life. We can only see this little bit, but yet all the rest of this spiritual connection is all around us all the time. And it's opening up to it, getting curious, and even starting conversations. So journaling, like starting a journal where you write down what it is that you're experiencing or you have questions about, and then waiting a moment to see if the answer comes, and then write down the answer. That's all connection to the divine and to God.
Yeah, I love that. I love that when I want to like an answer to something, I'll write the question and see if I can write the answer. Like it just comes to you, you know? I've learned that technique and that's really cool. I love this conversation, Andrea. We're gonna take a quick commercial break from our sponsor and we'll be right back. World
Right.
Healing Tour 2, 2024, October 20th, at the Wyndham Hotel in Boca Raton. We are looking for vendors, for sponsors, for speakers. If you want to be a part of this, go to noahcrane.com or click the link below. And we are back with Andrea. Great conversation. I love that. Everything that we're talking about, of being able to go inside of yourself to try to discover that connection to God. I know that you do a lot of sound healing and voice healing and, being able to get your power and your confidence from your voice. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Yes. So I would actually would love to share some sound with you too, sometime through this podcast. But
Yes.
before, I would love to talk with you about the power of our own voice and how um, so many of us have been programmed to be afraid of talking or afraid of even singing or setting any voice frequencies out into the world because of how much our society and the past has really judged and critiqued and placed value on somebody's expression. And it's been my joy to be able to come and bring a new perspective on our voice because our individual voice for our personal self is one of the biggest healing tools that we have. Um, it's why babies coo. It's why babies make all those baby noises. It's self soothing and it's calming to their spirit. That alone, if we can let go of any judgments and just start making noises, like just you could, if you need something concrete, like think, okay, I'm gonna meow like a cat. So then make some meowing sounds, meow, meow, or I'm gonna bark like a dog, woof, woof. Like letting those vibrations come through your body, it starts to like stir things up. It starts to make it so that what you're holding on to that is stuck to you through life that's not yours, it starts to vibrate it up so that you're able to let it go. Our body actually holds all of our experiences, and we need ways of allowing it, that energy that's stuck in our system, to get stirred up so that it can flush out.
Yeah, that's really cool. Actually, I'm a yoga teacher as well, and when I did my yoga teacher training, very quickly I realized that the reason I was there was to get my voice. I didn't really want to be a yoga teacher. I wanted to have my voice because when I taught yoga, I got to use my voice. I got to be in front of the class and teach others and be with others and get past that fear of using my voice in front of other people to speak. So yoga really helped me heal that throat chakra because same thing as you. I think that years of like judgment, self judgments. I also used to be in chorus, and when I used to sing, one of the girl next to me, she used to cover her ears. Now I don't think she was covering her ears because my voice was bad. I think she was doing it just to hear her own voice and not to have all the sound. But I took it personally. I was like, oh, she doesn't like my voice, so that's why she's covering her ears. And so all those things through life, plus traumas that I went through and at home where like my voice didn't really matter as a child, it all those things kept shutting my voice more and more. So I lost my voice, and by losing my voice, I also lost my confidence in life. So I had to get that voice back, and yoga helped me do that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes, and I love how you pointed out how you don't think that she was covering her ears because of your voice, but that there was still part of you that took it personally. And I think we do that in life so much. And all of those little perspectives that we hold on to can really lock us and block us and keep that vibrance from being able to flow. So I'm so grateful that yoga has helped you and brought you to be able to do these podcasts and all the work that you're doing to help the world heal. That's so beautiful.
Yeah, and I literally I thought for years that the reason she covered her ears was because of me. Like I took it very personally. It wasn't like it was even a thought. When I got older and I realized that, you can't take anything personally that people do, has nothing to do with us. And I did my own healing. That's why I realized, hey, it wasn't about you. But we make so much about us, and that's part of, shutting down. And that's what I related to in what you were saying.
Yes. Yes. And it's in that opening of our voice, like you said, you reclaim your, what was your words actually? I don't want to misquote you what you said. When you found your voice, you found your,
Well, I just feel when I found my voice, I was able to be with people and speak, and I found almost like my power, because I felt like that chakra, that throat chakra, was completely closed off, not just from the singing and being afraid about that, but also from the traumas that I had in my past. A stepfather who told me, you know, we didn't get to be self-expressed at home and as much as we wanted to. So we were kind of shut off in a lot of ways. And so I feel like all those things built up on each other and got me to lose my voice and my confidence, therefore.
yes. And our throat chakra is like where we hold our fear. Like, and that's, yes, it's beautiful. I'm getting excited about what you said because this is the work that I help people do is to be able to find their voice and to be able to reclaim their power and to be able to make space for them in this world. This world is big enough for all of us, and all of us have a unique gift to bring to the world that and requires our voice and our presence. And it doesn't even have to be our speaking voice, but the ability to articulate and express oneself freely. Um, yes, uh,
So,
I
so
want to share with you my drum. Can I share my drum?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so this is my drum. This travels with me most everywhere I go. Um, and this is something that I help people to be able to heal and find their voice. So when we speak and we can hear those vibrations come back to us, our body is designed to heal itself. It's always looking for information to be able to heal. And when we make noise, so this drum I want to share, this is called a frame drum. I've painted this myself with leather dye. It's made of goat skin. And then on the back side of it, it's just open. It doesn't have a handle or any sort of sinew and what it does is, I don't know if you can hear that, but as I talk into it, there's a resonance. The sound is coming back off the drum. And so being able to have something that's giving this back to you. Now, if you don't have a drum, that's why the shower in the bathroom is so great, right? It's a space where you can let your voice out and the vibrations can come back to your body to inform your body of what you're needing. And when you make the noises, so say you're going through a really rough time and you have grief, coming to your drum and allowing those deep, deep belly groans to come out. I'm going to do them. I hope that's okay. So it's allowing those sounds to be heard and to be your own witness. That helps to unlock all of that grief and all the things that we hold that we don't want to get stuck in our systems. We want to have it come out. We want to be able to experience it and witness it. And this form of doing it is such a healthy way of releasing everything so that we can move on.
That's really cool. That's a pretty drum.
Yes. Now it's also used to be able to project sound. So if you turn the sound this way and you sing into it or talk into it, it allows your voice to come out the backside so that you can project it to wherever you are wanting it to go. And it's
So,
a beautiful, go ahead.
no, I was going to
Yes.
say, so you said if you don't have a drum, you could do it in the shower. Why is the shower the same experience as having a drum?
It's well, it's a little bit different. So when you have a drum, you actually well, you'll start to build a relationship with your drum. The more you use it, the more it will bring in more vibrations and connection. And the more you use it in a sense of like a connection with it, kind of like how we're talking now and building a connection. The shower could be the same, you just can't transport it with you. You could develop a relationship with your shower and have gratitude that it reverberates the sound back to you. Um, it's in that sense, it's more the space of being able to have your frequency of sound come back and affect your body. And that it's being a witness to what you're experiencing and allowing it to release. A lot of times we just need a witness. We just need to know that somebody, even ourselves, knows what we're going through, can see it, and they still love us and they're still there. And then once we have that, we're able to let things go a lot easier.
How did you get that connection to the drum, and how long have you been doing that for?
Yes. Well, 7 years ago, my family was relocated out to Nashville, Tennessee. And here I right away met a beautiful woman. Her name is Karen Renee Robb. And at that time, she held classes. I think she may still hold classes now too, but she held classes connecting people to drums. And she taught me how to do this as well, and she gave me her blessing to continue on the tradition and share it everywhere I go. So she is one who taught me the connection with the drum and how far back the drum goes. It goes way back in history. It's always been a source of healing. It's always been a source, especially for women. There's a book called When Women Were the Drummers, and all the healing medicine that was brought through the drum.
Oh, that's amazing. I never would think that drumming is that healing for women to work with it. So that's a really cool modality. So it's something you do with your clients as well?
Yes, and I do with my sound healings as well. We always have drum come through it. Sometimes I'll sing into it, sometimes I'll just play the drum. The vibrations of the drum deeply affect, and like I said, help us to let loose the things that we're holding on to from the past, that it's time for us to let go of, so that we can continue our evolution into our full vibrance.
Yeah.
And
I love when you say that we have to release those energies because if we don't, we can't truly live our purpose in life. Why is that blocked our purpose and our gifts because we don't are not able to heal our voice? Why is that so connected to each other?
yeah, well, if you don't have your voice and ability to express yourself with peace and calm and assurance that it doesn't matter what anybody thinks of what you have to say, right? It's just a matter of expression. Um, when you can find that space, it sends out a vibration of truth that is very freeing. It's freeing to your own soul, and it's freeing to those who hear you too, if they want to be free. People who are still holding on might be actually kind of irritated by it, but it when we have those blocks and those sense of control, there's no flow. There's no flow from the spirit, which and from the divine. That's which is where we get our vitality, is
Mm.
where we get our joy and our peace and our assurance. It's bigger, so much bigger than the reality that many of us grow up in our traditional um, what's the kind of culture that we grow up in? We all know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
The culture that we grow up in, where it's very analytical, it's very never make a mistake, and so it's very
It's
left brain.
controlled. It's controlled.
Yeah,
Mm.
and so it's in that control. I mean, we definitely need control to be able to learn how to make room for everybody.
Mhm.
But eventually, we get to a space where we have to be able to make room for ourselves and bring those gifts forward. Because if we don't, I truly believe we die on the inside and we're living a dead life. And that kind of reminds me too of um, I always go back to the tree of knowledge and good and evil in the Garden of Eden that's talked about in the Bible. Um, because it's that knowledge of good and evil that causes us to die. It's it has such a grip on our ability to make a move that we truly are dying on the inside.
Control on our
Because then,
soul, right?
yeah, it is. It's stifling it. It's
Mhm.
like pushing it down. And it's only when we can find that well, for me, it was only when I found that connection to what really understanding what grace is and what the tree of life really is. And like even looking at the Garden of Eden, right? So Adam and Eve being in the garden, eating from the tree of life and anything that they wanted to in the garden, had no concept of anything being right or wrong. They just were. They just experienced. I would imagine they had great joy in every day. Every day they were in the presence of God. And it wasn't until they ate from that tree of knowledge and good and evil that then all of a sudden they felt shame and they felt like they weren't loved and they couldn't be loved and that they had made a huge mistake. And like when God comes to spend time with them, he immediately knows, right? Because of how they're acting. It's like, I know you ate from the tree because you are afraid of me and you think that I don't love you. And so it's realizing what it would actually be like to not live under the, the power of knowledge of good and evil, but to open up to this other wellspring of life, which is the tree of life that we can find through grace. And grace for me is grace is unmerited forgiveness. It's forgiveness without doing anything to be forgiven other than just receive. And it opens this other source of consciousness. It allows one to be themselves and also allows everybody else to be themselves. So, not a need to control how anybody else is living their life, but trusting that they are also being guided and choosing what they wish for their own life.
Yeah, I love that, and there's so much that you said in this conversation that I just want to break it down. But one of the things that we were talking about, well, first of all, it's so important. I always say, if every person in the world was just responsible for how they show up, right? What a beautiful world it would be. Because the only person we can control is ourselves at the end of the day. So we have to learn to be in charge of our own emotions, our own feelings, and be able to let go and forgive. So that's something that you were talking about, and I agree. I really believe forgiveness would heal the world if everybody can forgive. But the other thing that you talked about, those really, it's the flow, right? The flow. And I actually have a quote that says, if it doesn't flow, let it go. I really believe that flow is just something that is so important for our healing and to be able to move forward in our lives. Because if we're not in the flow, we're stuck, right? We're way down, like what you were saying. And so to be able to find the flow you're right, that's where the gifts come in. The gifts come in when we can let go and when we can have that connection to God so we can receive that flow of those gifts that we're meant to be, that we came to this world with. But when we're so caught up in the outside world and all the chaos and all the traumas from our past, and we're not forgiving, how can we connect to that endless flow of who we're supposed to be?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, so that was very well said. Well, we're going to take one more commercial break from our sponsor, and we'll be right back. The Grass Grows Where I Am, an incredible anthology book that we are bringing collaborators together. This book is about wisdom, resilience, empowerment, and enlightenment. Do you want to co author with us? If you do, go to noahcrane.com or click the link below. And we are back with Andrea. Hi, Andrea. This is a great conversation. So I wanted to say that I don't know if you know that, but you probably don't because you never talked about this. But going back to fear and how fear has a grip on us, right? It literally took me 20 years to write my book, The Grass is Greenest Where I Am, because I had so much fear of myself. I wasn't in the flow, right? I was completely stuck. Only when I was able to heal that part of me and stop running away from myself, because part of the thing that I was doing was always thinking the grass was greenest somewhere else, right? Always. That's why it's called The Grass is Greenest Where I Am, because it was only when I started doing my own inner work and was able to release that fear of my own greatness, was I able to step into the gifts, that I had. And so that is just the work that you're doing is so important, because I didn't realize how my voice was tied to everything in me staying back. I didn't realize that. I mean, I knew that, and me not feeling confident also caused me to feel insignificant in life. I felt unworthy and insignificant. And so you have all these things, feeling unworthy, insignificant, loss of confidence, not being able to bring your gifts to the world, having those frustrations, playing small and safe, because I knew that I was playing small and safe, but I kept playing small and safe because it was safe you know and so, not to talk about me, but
Oh,
the voice is just something really that I could see how, if I would have healed that sooner, or been more aware of that sooner, of how it impacted me, what a difference it would have made. Maybe it wouldn't have taken me 20 years, if I would have been able to know the path of working on those things. So I think your work is really important.
yes. And I agree with everything that you said and how much our voice is a part of our being able to be assured in ourself and our presence. For me, I was always afraid too. But for me, I mean, it was a mix of things. There's a fear of being rejected for saying and expressing myself. And then also a fear of people ever really wanting to know me and having to share the things that I had gone through in life. Those were things that had really held me back for a long, long time too. And it was, I was grateful though, because when I look back at it, it's all in the perfect timing. There's so many times where right now where my spiritual team's like, be patient. Time's not right yet. Be patient. And so it's learning that yes, our voice is here to help us be fully present and to be able to feel so assured in our life and who we are. And also trust the timing of it all. So some people may find me when they're very young because that's the right time for them. Some people might find me and the work that I do when they're later in life, not until they're like in their 70s or 80s. It's important, no matter what age we are, to know that our voice matters and what we are here to bring something unique. Yes, we are all here to do our role and our duties of caring for the people in our life and the responsibilities in our life. But there's something truly unique that each one of us carry, that once we have that opening and that opportunity to uncover it and express it, it brings more light and variation to our world that is so needed.
Yeah, I love the way you put it. And also, do you think that has anything to do with being emotionally available more to the people you love, healing that part of you?
For me, it was more of allowing everybody in my life to be their own person and um, to not have to understand or to know, but always send love. So there was never any shadow of rejection from my heart and my soul towards the people in my life. It didn't really take a lot of my time to do that because it was something always energetically being done while I was living and unfolding my own path and my own life. And then through that work, it had a ripple effect to all the people who I love the most, to where they were able to look at me and say, wow, she's really transformed. And wow, she's really got her feet underneath her. And wow, maybe I can do some of this work too. So it's I am emotionally available to them if they want to reach out to me for anything, but it's more just this assured knowing that God is in control of all of it. And the more that the channel of love is open between us, the more flow there is for all.
Yeah, I love that because we all such, an example for each other, right? You know, it's that, ripple effect, right? And we heal ourselves, we give space for other people to heal. So yeah, it's definitely is a journey. So I know that you have a beautiful voice, and a lot of the healing you do is through meditation and sound healing. I would love for you to share a little bit about that.
Yes, I would love to share. And I would love to even make this a little like few minute sound healing if I could.
Yeah,
Is that all right?
100%. Would love that.
Okay. So, for those who are listening, if you will just kind of take a moment before I begin and just notice where you're sitting. and notice anything going on inside your body. I have my eyes closed. That helps me to notice and become aware. So, noticing the senses, noticing any places of discomfort, any places where there's lack of flow in either my thoughts or in my body. So, like, kind of checking in my back and my legs and my hips, and my feet, my toes, and checking in everywhere. And anywhere that there's a place of resistance, just honor that it's there. Make room for it to be there. In no way try to reject it, but just create space and allow it to be there. And we'll do a sound healing. And if you are ready, anything that you can actually set an intention for what you would like this to do for you uh, on your own. And then I would like to set an intention. And if you like this intention, you may own it as well. That anything that you're ready to let go of that is keeping you from being in flow and from receiving our birthright of love and joy, peace, assurance, all of those things that help us feel assured in life. Anything that is blocking those things that you're ready to let go of, that they may fall away, and that anything that you might have lost along the way that does belong to you, that does bring you more a stronger sense of your connection to the divine, that be returned to you. All right, and if we're ready, are you ready, Noah?
Ready?
Okay.
That was so beautiful. Loved. I wanted more of that. That was
Yes,
amazing. Thank you. And your voice, man, it's so beautiful. And even listening to you when you speak, like your voice is just very soothing and just calming. You just have that about you, and I love that. That is really special. You're such a healer.
I've had to get out of my way a lot.
Yeah, well, you're
Yes.
doing an amazing job. And, I would love to see how people can connect with you. So, people that are listening to our podcast, how can they connect with you, Andrea? How can they find you? How can they work with you? What's their best way to get to know you and to?
Yes, well, you can find me on my website, which is andreabanfield.com. I'm also on Facebook, same Andrea Banfield. I'm on Instagram, my life underscore art itself. All of these places, feel free to message me, email me, and let's get connected. I'd love to know how I can be of support to you in your life.
And do you work with people from all over the world, like with via Zoom?
Yes, I do. Hmm.
That's great. I love that. So we have a few more minutes. I wanted to ask you, so one of the things we were talking about is the sound healing. How about as far as meditation? Like, what do you recommend people do to get started with a meditation practice?
Yes. Meditation is so huge. This is one of the best places to be able to let go of the, what do they call it? The 3D world. Let go of the world that our five senses pick up, that our thoughts think. And it's in meditation that we can really let go of the thoughts. There is, if you're just starting with meditation, there's so many different kinds of meditation. Actually, I think I might share with you one that can help with releasing fear because that's something that we talked a lot about today. Um, but first, I want to talk about one that just anybody can do that is great at quieting the mind. So start small. Start with 3 minutes in the morning and 3 minutes at night. Work yourself up to 15 minutes at each one of those time intervals. But you want to sit and within yourself and you want to have a word, some sort of word that helps you connect to that sense of the divine, to that sense of trust and assurance and peace. If you've had it in your life or there's some little tiny speck of it that you can hold on to, or you've had a huge experience with the divine, find a word that makes you connect with it. And then during this time, we're going to start letting our thoughts come forward that we might unlock them with this word and let them release from us. What you'll find is on top of all the thoughts you're thinking about, you have a back burner of thoughts that you've been holding on to for a really long time that are taking your energy. You don't even know it. So, taking this time, you're going to set the sacred space within yourself, asking the divine to pray with you and in you during this time. And then you just sit and be. And the moment you notice you're thinking, you're going to say that word to yourself inside your heart. Sometimes I stretch it out a little bit long. But you're going to say the word. And as you say that word, it will unlock your thought and allow you to release it to the divine. You no longer have to carry it or worry about it. And just know that this time you're setting aside is purely for the emptying of the thoughts that you're carrying. Anything that comes in as an inspiration, unlock it too. Let it go. If it's something for you, the divine will bring it back at the right time. If it's something that's traumatic that you don't really want to think about, say your word and let it go. Don't get stuck in the story. The moment you notice you're thinking, say your word, release the thought, release the sensations from your body, and let it go.
Can you give us an example of a word?
So it could be like love, it could be peace, assurance. If you have a connection with a name of God that you use, like Holy Spirit, um, whatever your word might be, that connects you to that sense of peace and calm.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so just choose a word that makes you feel good and use that word.
Yeah.
Okay, and we have like another minute. So, what's that fear meditation that you were talking about?
Yes. So the fear meditation is actually to release the fear that's in your body. This is something that I've learned. One of the last trainings I've been doing am I, for healing. So this one, you take these three fingers, you're going to put your thumb over your pinky. You're going to put your hands at your side and slightly tilt them in. And that kind of looks funny. It's called the dog breath. You're going to stick out your tongue as far as it can go. And then you're going to pant like a dog with your diaphragm, your stomach pumping in and out. So it looks like this. You're also going to be looking at your chin. And you're going to do that for 11 minutes. Your
Wow.
throat will get dry. It
Ooh,
might even like cause you to cough, but it's actually going to be releasing the fear that is tied in your throat chakra and clearing it out.
that's amazing. And if you get thirsty, can you take a drink, a sip in between, or you have to like do it 11
Keep
minutes
going.
straight?
Just swallow.
Oh
Just
my
swallow.
goodness. So drink
Fine.
before you do it.
Yeah. Your throat will get dry. So
Wow.
like when I sometimes my throat gets so entirely dry and then it's just noticing like when you're doing this, it would be I'm noticing I'm getting thirsty. I'm noticing that I'm really uncomfortable. I'm noticing that I want this to be over. I'm noticing like so then you just notice all the things that you're noticing while doing the meditation.
And what will you notice after you've done that?
Your throat will be a lot more open and your ability to speak will be a lot more clear.
Okay, that's very
Yeah.
cool. And that helps you with your fear as well.
It helps to release the fear, that's holding back your voice
All
and your
right.
presence. Yeah.
That's very cool. I never knew about that. So thank you. All right, Andreas, thank you again so much. This was so eye-opening. I know people that watch this podcast will get so much from it. Really enjoyed our time together, and we'll definitely have to do it again.
Yay, I'm excited. I'm
All
so
right.
glad to tell you. Thank you.
Namaste. I want to thank you all for joining us today at the World Healing Tour podcast. Until next time, remember to practice these three important elements in your life. Number one, have a grateful heart every day and connect to your gratitude. Number two, ground in love and compassion for yourself and for others as well. And number three, know that you're not alone on the journey every day, but rather you're guided by a higher power. I call it God. Thank you, everybody. Till next time, I will look forward to seeing you again. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.